Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight on 207. We made it to Friday. I'm Samantha York.
And I'm Rob Caldwell. Coming up in this half hour, we are at the Form Lab in Falmouth, learning about recovery with physical therapist James Townsend. He'll show us some of his techniques and tests to get people back to their workouts quickly after an injury.
And later this half hour, we're joined in the kitchen by Jordan Rubin, the owner and chef at Mr. Tuna, who is sharing his recipe for spicy tuna nachos. It's a dish combining flavors from different regions of the world for an easy shareable meal or appetizer. But first tonight, the University of Maine's most famous alumnus is Stephen King. His books and the movies adapted from them have made him one of the most popular writers in the world. And in turn, fans, critics, and scholars have written millions of words about King and his stories.
But no one has ever gotten the access to King's work that was recently given to an English professor at UMaine. Her name is Caroline Bicks, and she has quite a story of her own.
Caroline Bicks arrived on the University of Maine campus as the first Stephen King chair in literature. King himself had nothing to do with the position. The Harold Alphont Foundation endowed it, and Bicks herself was, perhaps somewhat surprisingly, mainly an expert on another hugely popular writer, William Shakespeare.
Did you have any misgivings about the job? Did you think, they know I'm a Shakespearean expert, but they're going to drag me into Stephen King?
No, I would have loved that. No, if anything, I was told the opposite, which is this has nothing to do with Stephen King. He gave his permission to have his name used, but you should not initiate any contact. So I was happily doing my job at the University of Maine for 4 years before I got a phone call at home saying, "Hi, it's Steve King."
And you were a little surprised at the beginning when the university gave you those specific instructions. Don't reach out to him.
Well, I wasn't surprised per se. It was more just, oh, okay, a little disappointed. But, I understand. He's a private person.
And then the phone rang.
And then the phone rang.
Voice on the other
I was
end?
actually standing right there when I got the phone.
Hi, this is Steve King.
A cold call from Stephen King at my house. And he just said, "I think it's time we met."
Professor Bicks invited King to speak to her students, an invitation he accepted.
I have to laugh at your account of that in the book because the thing that you were the most nervous about was making sure that you kept a parking space that he could use.
I know. Well, because I wasn't supposed to tell anybody about the visit, and I'd been managing it for months by myself. So yes, for me, I decided I was going to fixate on making sure he had a parking spot because he insisted on driving himself. I said, "I can come pick you up at your house." He says, "Nope, I'm going to drive myself, and you can just hop in the car and show me where to park." And I'm thinking, well, okay, Stephen King, I'll hop in your car. And I should say, I'm a huge King fan, if that's not clear. So I started reading him when I was 12. And so part of my attraction to this job was just to have my name associated with one of my favorite living writers.
Caroline Bicks started reading King as a teenager, first borrowing from the public library in Castine his book, Night Shift.
I grabbed it because the cover was so shocking. I didn't know anything about Stephen King. And then I was pulled right in. The Boogeyman, story number 6. I still can't sleep next to an open closet. And from there, I just couldn't stop. And so part of this project for me as I've been writing this book has been understanding more why fear works on us and the purpose of a horror story as a way to metabolize our fears.
A few years ago, Bicks was offered an extraordinary opportunity. She was invited to spend a year doing research in Stephen King's archives at his home in Bangor, the place that held all his drafts, manuscripts, personal notes, letters, and more. She was the first person outside of King's family and foundation granted that access. Now, King has written more than 70 books, so she decided to focus on 5. Carrie, Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary, The Shining, and the short story collection Night Shift.
Because those were the ones I read when I was a teenager. Those are the ones that were still stuck in my head.
The book she wrote about what she found and what she learned is called Monsters in the Archives, My Year of Fear with Stephen King.
I wrote this book for a wide audience because I really feel like so many people love Stephen King and so many people would be interested in understanding how this master writer crafted these stories that have had such endurance.
Bicks' research turned up some interesting discoveries, one of them about The Shining.
The only thing that can get a bit trying up here during the winter is a tremendous sense of isolation.
King's novel was turned into this classic movie, which, by the way, King really disliked.
So for The Shining, I got to read the first draft called The Shine, which is a completely different ending. It's divided up into acts and scenes. It's a play. And then I found out he was imagining a Shakespearean tragedy when he wrote The Shining. So that, as a Shakespearean, blew my head up in a different way.
Another surprise came from an early draft of Carrie, King's first published novel, which was made into this memorable film.
For Carrie, it will be a dream come true. For everyone else, it will be a nightmare.
Carrie was completely different the first draft. I mean, she's an alien with horns. But that became a story for me about how he understood how to change and craft a teenage girl.
Has he read your book?
Yes.
What did he say about it?
So he really, really likes it, and he posted that it was the best book about his writing process he's ever read.
You're a Shakespearean scholar. We're still reading and watching and touched by Shakespeare 400 years after the works were written. How long do you think Stephen King's works are going to be read and enjoyed?
I think just as long as Shakespeare's.
Really?
I really do. I really do. Maybe not all 70 of them. It's probably going to be 100 by the time he's done. You know what? I think The Shining is going to endure. He jokes and says they're going to remember the clown. They're not going to remember me. He thinks it's going to be it. It is also a terrifying one. But I wouldn't be surprised if people are reading and talking about The Shining 400 years from now.
Oh my gosh.
It's such an intriguing notion.
I love it. And what a testament from Stephen King himself.
Yeah.
He really, really liked it.
Yeah, her book, he said, is the best yet on his writing process.
That's awesome.
Again, the name of Caroline Bicks' book is Monsters in the Archives.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more of 207. If you want to feel stronger, the team at the Form Lab can help you with that. We are here today with James Townsend, who is a physical therapist. We also have 207 producer Aaron Tangway, who is, you're not a dummy, but we're going to call you a dummy. He's here with us as well to kind of demonstrate what we're doing today, because you're going to show us a couple different things. What are we going to be doing today?
Yeah, we're going to be two things. We're going to do two things that I do as a physical therapist here. One is going to be a treatment. The first thing we're doing here with Aaron is going to be something called shockwave therapy. And then we're going to take him through a little bit of an agility as part of a testing program that we call HOP testing.
Awesome. And all of these things, of course, will help you get the most out of your workout. So what is shockwave therapy?
Yeah, shockwave therapy here is a modality that we use with patients who have an injury that is a soft tissue injury, tendon, tendinitis, tendinopathy. We use it to help reduce inflammation locally, increase blood flow, which ultimately reduces pain and can improve the function of a muscle or of a tendon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's see how it works.
Yeah, so in this example here, Aaron is coming with a raging case of tennis elbow, and so we're going to use shockwave therapy to treat that. It's great for all sorts of tendons. We see it a lot for people that have Achilles tendinitis, plantar fasciitis, tendon issues of their rotator cuff, or their lateral epicondyle, which is also known as tennis elbow. So basically, this is just a little bit of ultrasound gel, Aaron, that we use so it doesn't irritate the skin. And how this guy works is it uses something we call mechanotransduction. All right, a mechanotransduction kind of works into the tendon deeper to penetrate at the cellular level to reduce that inflammation, increase blood supply, ultimately reducing inflammation and improving the function of a tendon.
Yeah.
All right, so it gets a little bit loud, that's the only thing. It's kind of like using a Theragun, but a little bit stronger. So it kind of has that vibration and then it just makes a little bit of noise. So we're gonna do a quick demo here. Typically the treatment takes about like 7 to 8 minutes, and it's usually at a level that is very well tolerated, and it just makes a couple of noises like that. And so we do this over the area to, again, reduce that inflammation, increase blood flow.
Okay, so I'm hearing that. What is he feeling when this is going on?
Yeah, so what he should be feeling is just a little bit of pressure, a little bit of vibration that is going down into that tendon, the piston that is just kind of making noise. Again, it's a pressure sensation, shouldn't really exceed like a 3 out of 10 on the pain scale.
You doing okay?
That's all. How does it feel to you?
Yeah. So and you said how often should you be doing something like this?
Usually all the evidence shows to doing it like 1 or 2 times per week over the course of 4 to 6 weeks to get a better change of reduced pain, reduced inflammation, Yeah.
Because it might be an obvious question, but how is that going to help you get more out of your workout?
Yeah, exactly. So by reducing pain, improving strength, that people are able to just do more, right? So desensitizing some of the pain allows you to move better, have improved range of motion, have improved strength with whatever exercise or activity it is that you're doing.
Awesome. Is there anything more to show with this, or should we hop over to the other test?
I think this is good enough. Again, the whole treatment only takes about 5 to 7 minutes, but we're going to spare that, Aaron, and not do the whole treatment. This is just kind of what it feels like and what it entails.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go do the other test.
Great. Okay, so now we're here to review hop testing, which is a series of tests that we use in PT to determine if someone is ready to return to play or athletic activity. So when someone comes to see me for a lower extremity injury, ankle, knee, hip, it's really important that they have the strength, the control, and the agility to be able to absorb landing, accelerating, decelerating, changing of direction, that sort of thing. And so before I can feel confident in clearing someone to return to play, this is one of the measures I'm going to look at. So again, we call this hop testing. There's a series of tests that we do. I'm going to take Aaron through 1, maybe 2 tests here to sort of see if he's ready to return to play. So the first one is just called a single leg hop for distance. So we're starting on the uninjured side here. So this is Aaron's healthy leg. And what you're going to do, Aaron, is just take 1 hop and try to stick the landing before you put your other foot down. Good, not too bad, little bit. That was great distance.
Impressed.
That was great distance, come on back. But what we're looking for is I want you to try to stick that landing, all right, and have good, nice, soft landing and good control. Go ahead and try again. Better, nice, and then you put your other foot down. And then we're gonna back up, and now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And what I'm looking for, kind of subjectively, is how is he landing? Can he stick that landing? What's his knee doing? What's his hip doing? Sort of looking at those things to determine what his kind of motor control is like, as well as measuring the distance objectively. So I would take my tape measure, measure the distance, compare it side to side for distance, as well as those kind of landing criteria that I was talking about. Can we try 1 more? So the next hop, Aaron, actually, what you're going to do is you're going to do 3 hops in a row. All right, we call this the triple hop. All right, it's a little more challenging. It's a little more advanced. You're going to take 3 hops, landing on the 3rd one. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Look at that. Great job. And great landing there on that last one. And then we'd have you come back, and I would do the same thing on your other limb. When you're ready. Good. 1, 2, 3. Good, and a pretty decent landing there. If this was really the clinic, you were my patient, I would definitely work on refining kind of maybe some of that landing, and again, identifying are there any issues side to side in terms of strength or motor control. Great job, though.
And we were talking, too, about how this is kind of key to making sure that people don't re-injure themselves if they're going to work out after they've been injured.
Exactly, right? If we send someone back to sport or back to participation too soon, there's always a risk of re-injury. This is one of the tests, one of many battery of tests that we would do to ensure that they are safe to return.
Awesome. Great information.
Yeah.
Thanks, James.
Great.
Good to work with you. If you would like to learn more about everything we covered today at the Forum Lab, just head to the 207 section of our website and app, and don't go anywhere. We're back right after this.
There's one thing that is beyond dispute in this country. Americans love their nachos. But we're making nachos in a different way today here in the 207 kitchen. Jordan Rubin from Mr. Tuna in Portland and Crispy Guy is with us. And what are you going to make for us, Jordan?
Well, we're going to make spicy tuna nachos.
Tuna nachos.
Just makes sense. Mr. Tuna, if we're going to make nachos, this is how we're going to do it.
All right, let's begin. Where do we start?
We have some beautiful yellowfin tuna, so sushi grade, which just means it's good enough to eat raw.
Right.
So we just cut it into small cubes, little bite-sized pieces. So that's going to go right into the bowl. And then we're going to add our chopped red onions.
Right.
And that's just going to go right in there, too. We're going to season this. And we have a little bit of soy sauce. Kind of drizzle that right on there.
Yes.
That's going to be our salt and a lot of the flavor we're getting. And then we got a chili crisp. This is just one we make at the restaurant, but you can use anything, any store-bought chili crisp would work.
Obviously, that's probably what just about everyone is going to do at home. Buy something from the store and use that.
Yes, it's it's definitely a lot of work, but you just want some heat. So
Okay.
we're gonna do about a tablespoon of this, and you wanna stir it up first. You wanna get all those little chunky bits at the bottom.
Right, got it.
So now we're just gonna dress this really lightly.
As you do that, let me ask you, what was the inspiration
for the tuna nachos?
You know, we do a lot of Latino flavors, Mexican flavors at the restaurant. It goes really well with sushi. You know, the bright flavors, acidity, spicy flavors go really great with raw fish and tuna. So it just kind of felt natural, and it's something fun that people can share. It's a little untraditional at a sushi restaurant, and Mr. Tuna is far from traditional.
Yeah, so that's great. I love that innovation.
Yeah.
Okay, next step?
Next step, okay, we got our bowl. This is a crema, or sour cream, seasoned sour cream. We take sour cream. It's mixed with lime zest and lime juice.
Okay.
So just of one lime. We zest the lime right in there, whisk it in into the squeeze bottle at the restaurant. And then we're just gonna kind of drizzle that on the plate as our base. And then we're gonna add our chips. These are just tortilla chips. You can make them at home, you can buy them. We want them to be unseasoned, just salted chips.
Okay.
You can really taste, you know, the tuna.
You want the tuna to be at the forefront
Yes,
here.
the tuna is the star.
Yeah.
So just kind of scatter them like that. Right before we mix it in, we got our chopped avocado, just diced avocado. I like to do this last so it doesn't turn into guacamole.
Not that would be the worst thing in the world,
No,
but
no.
it's just not what you want in this dish.
Yeah, we want a little more like bite to it.
Yeah.
So mixing all that evenly again, and now we're just gonna kind of scatter this over the chips. You know, it's gonna be a little messy to eat, but that's okay. You know, nachos can be messy.
Yeah, bring extra napkins, because that's what you do with nachos.
All right, so everything's just going right on there. Try to kind of put some in all the little crevices. All right, and once we have all the tuna and the avocado in there, we're going to season it a little more with some more of the crema.
Right.
Just right on top. Kind of do a little diagonal squiggly line situation.
Nice.
And then we got our pickled jalapenos. Pickled jalapenos from the supermarket are great.
I mean, the key thing is you've got to have the quality tuna. That there's no getting around that.
That's
You've got to have
number one.
sushi grade tuna, and then from there you can kind of improvise and adapt, right?
Exactly. And you could do this, you know, you could do it with salmon if you wanted. You could do it with some other white fish. It's just something that you could eat raw. And then we're just kind of scattering the pickled jalapenos depending on how spicy you like it. I like it really spicy, so I'm going to put all the jalapenos in there. And then the last step is just some cilantro, you know, classic garnish for nachos. But that is the finished product. You know, you just kind of dig in.
It is a nacho dish that you have not had before, most likely, and as Jordan says, dig in. The recipe is on our website and app. Head to newscentermaine.com. The 207 section, that's where you're going to find the recipe for the tuna nachos, and you're going to find more information as well about Jordan's restaurants, Mr. Tuna in Portland and Crispy Guy, also in Portland. Great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Rob, thanks so much.
Stick
What a
around.
great time.
Back with more of 207 right after this. Coming up Monday here on 207, we are checking out Down East Magazine's annual Best of Maine issue. It's always fun. Ideas on where to go, what to do, and of course, what to eat and drink.
Oh, you had me there, Rob.
Thanks for being with us this week.
Have a good weekend. We'll see you back here Monday at 7 for more 207.